Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Wednesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. Hope everyone is doing well beyond, the football field. All of you were here yesterday, live coverage of the 2025 NFL trade deadline. As it was wrapping up, we were live for about an hour or so, the last half hour of the deadline before the deadline hit, and then a little bit after the fact to see if there were any trades that trickled in. And for Steelers fans, a pretty disappointing day. The Steelers making no trades. It's been a whirlwind of the past 24 hours. Fans reacting to that deadline. We are going to talk about it more here to kick off the show in a moment. What the Steelers could have done, what instead little they did do, and maybe another addition other than a trade that they could make here within the next week. All of that to kick off the program here in a moment. Also, today we will give a quick recap of Mike Tomlin's press conference from yesterday. We were not discussing that on the live stream yesterday, so today we will recap what the Steelers head coach said and also what went down in Steelers practice today, who practiced, who didn't, a couple of surprise DNPs, meaning did not participate at Steelers practice today. Who those players were, we will talk about in a minute. After that, we will get into some Pittsburgh Penguins talk. They, since we last spoke, playing the Toronto Maple Leafs, how that game went. I'll give you a bit of a spoiler here. 40 minutes of good hockey, the last 20, probably their worst hockey of the season. A tale of two games in the first two periods and then in the last in that game. So we'll recap that, what the Pens did there. Also, a flurry of roster moves that the Penguins made. One call up from the minors that I am super stoked about, as is every other Penguins fan. We will discuss. And then after that, we will get into extra Pittsburgh sports news here from the day, for the day, really the past couple of days, actually. A couple of Pittsburgh Steelers stories, maybe one extra hockey story, and then a little bit going on with the baseball team. Before we officially get underway here today, I do want to say, as always, if you are new here to the channel, welcome. And please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you never miss when we are live or upload a video again. We are up to 611 subscribers on the channel, so we've gained a couple of more between today and the last time we were live yesterday for the trade deadline. Also, would appreciate it if you like this live stream, share this live stream, leave a comment in the comments section. Any thoughts, questions, opinions that you have, whether it be on the Penguins, Steelers, Pirates, anything in general, get those in there. I have a feeling it's going to be a ton of talk about yesterday's trade deadline. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And come back a little bit later on tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60. With that, before we get into our first segment of the day here, let's go to that comments section. And welcome back. We reconvene as always. Good friends Tyrone Keaton in here. Concepts as well. What is up, Steelers Nation? Not much. Just really recapping and still trying to comprehend what went down yesterday, or more accurately, what didn't go down yesterday at the trade deadline relating to the Steelers. That is where we are going to start here today. You guys can feel free to chime in your opinions as we go along here. Some more details on the trade deadline yesterday for relating to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, we're going to talk about Mike Tomlin's Tuesday press conference here in a minute, but also sort of taking a quote from that press conference and putting it into this segment. Yesterday, Mike Tomlin at his press conference, when asked if the Steelers were going to make an addition at the trade deadline, he said, "We'll see what happens. I like shopping." He said that with a Cheshire cat grin on his face, like he knew something was coming down the wire. Turns out, nothing at all. The Steelers stood pat, held on to their picks, and did pretty much nothing. The most notable moves yesterday that affected the Steelers, or that the Steelers could have made, the Jacksonville Jaguars with a surprise trade. You are going to see it right here. They getting the most viable option for the Steelers to add at wide receiver, Jacoby Myers. He traded to Duval for a 4th and a 6th round pick, a pretty meager price there to get Jacoby Myers, 2 day 2 picks. I think the Steelers could have made this trade, but they ultimately didn't. It frustrates the hell out of me. Seems like a 4th and a 6th could have been very easy to give up because you're pretty much guaranteed one way or another to get those picks back, whether you made another trade after getting Myers or you got some compensatory picks coming down the line. The Justin Fields compensatory pick, that's looking like it should be at least a 4th. The Russell Wilson, Najee Harris picks, those could be 6th or 7th. So this trade here could have been very doable for the Steelers, in my opinion. It was confirmed, talking about this trade, that the Steelers were among the teams that inquired about Jacoby Myers along with the Buffalo Bills, but ultimately Jacksonville lands him, Myers, that is, because they are now down Travis Hunter. He is on IR, and also their other young wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., he dealing with an ankle injury of some sort. Still, though, this trade very doable. Even if you're the Steelers, you could have given up a 4th and a 5th, and I would have been okay with it, even if Myers is just a rental, because this is an all-in year. You're only guaranteed Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, and a 4th and a 5th round pick is exactly what was given up for another wide receiver that was conceivable for the Steelers, Rashid Shaheed, the speedy, I believe his top speed, 22 or 23 mile an hour top speed wide receiver from the New Orleans Saints. Rashid Shaheed, he goes from the outhouse to the penthouse up in Seattle with the Seahawks. He teams up with Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp. That offense just got more electric. So 2 most realistic receivers for the Steelers. They went almost back to back, I think within an hour span. Those 2 guys got traded yesterday, and they were for 4ths and a, pick even below that. I think it could have been conceivable for the Steelers that they could have matched that offer, but ultimately didn't. I hope that, it wasn't, oh, hey, just a 4th, or like, hey, we're willing to give up just a 4th and nothing else. I hope they didn't let a, bottom 2 round pick get in the way of them making an addition like this at the deadline. But, I mean, you can't help but think about it that way. James Palmer, NFL Insider, yesterday, he did say that the Steelers were aggressive at the deadline. He said that Pittsburgh is definitely out being aggressive. They are looking for different players. Well, apparently they weren't aggressive enough. If they were truly aggressive, they wouldn't have been beat out by those 2 teams, the Seahawks and especially the Jaguars. And they wouldn't have, not, if they were aggressive, they would have been, more aggressive than a 4th and a 6th round pick given up. So that wound up being that. There were a couple of other rumors floating out there, of course, that really weren't realistic at this trade deadline. It was Shaheed or Myers or maybe even Calvin Ridley. It was either, one of those 2 or 3 guys and really nothing other than that. There were a couple of other, long shot rumors, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave. Even there was one that popped up that the Steelers gave a call to the Arizona Cardinals for Marvin Harrison, but that wasn't realistic at all. And Steelers only moves yesterday, adding Marquez Valdez-Scantling to the practice squad officially. That signing to the practice squad was made official yesterday. MVS will wear number 11. Also, a couple of other practice squad moves that the Steelers made. They signed defensive back Daquan Hardy, Penn Hills native, so a bit of a homecoming for him. And they also brought back linebacker Mark Robinson, who was with the team for the first 4 years of his career. They released outside linebacker KJ Henry and wide receiver John Reese Plumlee to make room for those 2 guys. But Steelers didn't really do anything yesterday, though. Let's try to be a little bit optimistic today. I will say that. I'm going to get this off the screen. because I'm sure you guys are going to bring this up in the comment section at some point today. There is a little bit of hope that the Steelers could make a acquisition that is like a trade deadline move that would make us feel a whole lot better about ourselves. I believe I mentioned this yesterday on the trade deadline live stream, but this guy, we talked about him, I believe, a little bit, or at least mentioned him passing by in the offseason as a possible addition to the Steelers secondary. Now that could become a reality. Ian Rappaport yesterday saying that free agent former LA Charger corner Asante Samuel, who had spinal infusion surgery, he has been fully cleared by doctors and will return to the NFL. Many teams are getting a hold of him and his agent right now, asking to bring him in for a visit. And good news, they have me a little worried because they weren't one of the first teams. And quite honestly, it's still a little bit worrying that they are the last team. But the Steelers, they are on the visit list for Asante Samuel. The full list from Ian Rappaport I'm reading right here. Asante Samuel Jr., who, hey, he's still pretty young. I mean, no more than 25 or 26 years old, something like that for Asante Samuel. 2023, before his injury, shout out Steelers Draft HQ for this, a 73.9 PFF grade, 2 interceptions, 13 pass defenses. So Samuel, damn good addition for whoever is going to land him. I don't see him sticking on the market for long here, but if he does make it to the Steelers, they got to scoop him up. The full list right here from Ian Rappaport of teams he will visit. Samuel visiting the Carolina Panthers today. They're 5-4. The Green Bay Packers, he will visit tomorrow. Friday will be the Minnesota Vikings. Off for the weekend, and then Monday, the San Francisco 49ers. Tuesday, the Chicago Bears. And then finally, this time next week, we will be talking about, hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully talking about Asante Samuel meeting with the Steelers and maybe putting pen to paper, because that is a lot of teams that Samuel has to visit before the Steelers. All we can do is hope that he's able to walk out of those teams' buildings and give the Steelers a shot before he makes a decision. But you want to talk about maybe a move that could make us we're not going to entirely forget, Stan and Pat doing nothing on deadline day. But if you want to make us give you a little bit of forgiveness, Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, go out there, get Asante Samuel. You put him in the secondary. All of a sudden, you are loaded, and I feel a whole hell of a lot comfortable and confident in that unit. You keep Jalen Ramsey, Kyle Duggar at free safety. Let Juan Thornhill and Chuck Clark rotate in there. And then your corners, Eccles, Slay, Porter, Samuel, mix in a little bit of James Pierre or even Corey Trice if he comes back. So I would definitely look into that with the Steelers. Now, they are scheduled to meet with him. The only thing we can hope for is that he does indeed make it to next Wednesday, and that the Steelers are going to at least have a meeting with him to try to convince him to sign. So just wrapping up here, talking about the trade deadline yesterday. Steelers now, they have 12 picks in the 2026 draft. They in that 2026 draft, which is in Pittsburgh, we were talking about, okay, maybe they held on to the picks because the draft is in the city. Art Rooney, the second, this is his creation. He worked really, really hard, hammered the table, politicked his ass off to get the draft to come to Pittsburgh. So he's going to want as many picks as he can for that draft, have the spotlight on the Steelers for 3 whole days. Well, 12 picks, 7 of which are in the first 2 days of the draft, plus 2 fourth-rounders. So I see why the Steelers, held on to those picks, but still reading that, 12 picks, 7 in the first 2 days. I mean, yeah, that's good, but still, could you not part with one of those fourths or one of those late day 3 picks to go get a wide receiver? I guess not. So just trying to be Mr. Optimistic. Look here on the bright side. At least we know now that we will get a definitive look at Roman Wilson. Want to see how he bounces back from that terrible play he made late in the Colts game, but we did see over the previous 2 games, besides the Colts game against the Bengals and the Packers, that he does have some potential of being a suitable wide receiver option in this offense. How high is his ceiling? I'm going to guess not that high, beyond, like a Calvin Austin, a high-end wide receiver 3, but don't get mistaken, he's not going to be a WR2, but at least, we get a good look at him. However, just again, flip-flopping back here, could you, if you weren't going to get, Jacoby Myers or something, could you at least have said you did something and gotten in Alan Lazard or a Brandon Cooks, something like that? Because are those guys going to be WR2s? No, but what I feel at least a tiny bit better about those guys, moving up the depth chart, in case, Wilson or Austin goes down, then yeah, and I would like those guys, Lazard, Cooks, I would like them a whole hell of a lot better. This is meant to not be a shot whatsoever. I would like them a lot better than Scotty Miller as a WR 4 or 5. So, yeah, Steelers, just wrapping up trade deadline talk here. They made no moves whatsoever. They now hold on to all 12 of their draft picks for the 2026 NFL draft. Will they carry all 12 into draft day? If I had to guess, probably not. They're going to end up shipping off one of those or a couple of those picks in a trade before the season. But a disappointing trade deadline, but let's try to look on the positive here. Look forward, see what MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, can do, what these other wide receivers can do now that they know for the rest of the year they're not going to be looking over their shoulder for someone to come take their spot. So time to step up here for the offense, and time for Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin to pray that in this all-in year with Aaron Rodgers, that their offseason acquisitions, Rodgers, Metcalf, Ramsey, Slay, Jonnu Smith, they better, grab the rosary beads, hoping that will be enough to have this team making noise in the postseason. Okay, that wraps up trade deadline talk. I'm sure we will get back into it a little bit more in the show. We're going to stick with it right now, though, and get into the comments section. A ton of you guys have floated on in here as we've been talking here this evening. Black Magic in here, but disappointed we did nothing yesterday. I agree. A couple of comments here. THP is in here. I'll start with concepts here. We technically had 3 trades: Minka for Ramsey, a 5th and a 7th swap for Jonnu Smith, and Kyle Duggar for a 6th or a 7th, and still have all our draft picks. Glass half full. Yeah, that is one way of looking at it. You want to talk about ground shaking moves. Those trades certainly were. I guess you can count the Kyle Duggar trade as a deadline move, even though it was 5 days in advance. So yeah, you can count that. And also, you want to keep as many draft picks as you can, seeing if MVS still has something left, and if he can regain that chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. That's a wide receiver move, and if they can somehow land Asante Samuel, I will feel a ton better about this inaction at the deadline for the Steelers. THP, while people thinking Dallas didn't win, getting an elite front player for a possible late first and mid second in his prime, sign me up. Yeah, that was the second biggest move of the day yesterday. Of course, the first, I don't think anybody here is going to disagree. Sauce Gardner for 2 firsts and 80 Mitchell going to the Indianapolis Colts. I do like that move for Dallas. And also, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think I saw a post where it was when you combine the Quinnen Williams and Micah Parsons trades together, you get basically swapped out Parsons for Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, and a first or something like that. I saw it, but I don't remember it exactly. THP, if you saw it, maybe you can fill me in on there. Dallas knows we're not winning this year, but next year, maybe healthier, a better team. Yeah, that's really the only downside I see to that trade for Dallas, is that you're 3-5. I think there's like 8 other teams in the NFC who are 5-3 or better. So getting rid of a first round pick in this year's draft when you had two, that really confused me. But hey, I mean, you ship off one of those first. Are you going to get a player the caliber of Quinnen Williams? No, but still, though, kind of confusing. Magic here. WTF we do with 12 picks this year? LMAO. Only 4 of them will make the team. Yeah, talking about those draft picks. They do nothing for this year, but that is unfortunately situation we are in. Now, could those picks be packaged up and could it be like another DK Metcalf type addition in the offseason? Like my dad says, I really hope DK is healthy the rest of the way. If he's not, that is red flags, DEFCON 1 for the Steelers offense. But yeah, 12 picks this year. Guess Art Rooney had more influence than we realized behind the scenes, because I'm pretty sure he was the one who said, hey, we got to keep all of our picks for this draft in Pittsburgh. And the more I did thinking about this today, seeing those 12 picks, but also while the Steelers increased their draft pick, stockpile, and at the same time they brought in guys like Ramsey, like DK Metcalf, I was trying to tie a similarity here, and I hope I don't sound too stupid when I say this. It almost seems to me like the Pittsburgh Steelers are taking the route that the Pittsburgh Penguins took like a year or two ago, where it's like, yeah, we're going to help this aging core that we have right now try to win, but also, let's not give up any high draft compensation. Let's add upon it, make sure we can, maybe get a couple of young studs in here to help these guys, as they continue to get older and then ultimately surpass them. So, that's my idea there of, what the Steelers are trying to do it. And they weren't, out front saying that they were doing this like the Penguins did, but just trying to think, all right, all in year, you brought in these former Pro Bowl, all-pro type players who are in the top 15 at their respective positions, but also you didn't really, make any other moves to supplement around them, and you stockpile draft picks. That'd be, my idea of what the Steelers were thinking here at this deadline and heading into next year's draft. They're taking the Pittsburgh Penguins, another team in town, about a 5-minute drive from Acrisure Stadium. They're saying, hey, what you guys did, why don't we try to do it? Maybe we can do even better. So that was my idea that I came up today of thinking about what the Steelers were doing there. Yinzer Joe here in the comments. Would have felt a lot better if there was a trade for a wide receiver and corner. We better hope our picks will be worth it. Indeed there, Joe. At least, the Steelers, they've been out front in saying over and over again that they do love the wide receiver core that they have. DK Metcalf, of course, is DK Metcalf. They really have a strong fascination with Calvin Austin, what he can do. They spent a third-round pick on Roman Wilson, and going to get into Mike Tomlin's press conference from yesterday here in a minute. He even said that he likes the trajectory of Roman Wilson besides the play in the Colts game. So they feel good about their wide receiver room. I guess their, kind of trade or acquisition of a wide receiver was MVS, sort of giving Rodgers a buddy so that they, say, hey, we didn't go get one of these good guys, but here, you got an old buddy from your Green Bay days in MVS. Let's see what you guys can do together. And then a corner. I will bypass the addition of a corner if they can go out there and land Asante Samuel. But am I holding my breath for it? No, as for reasons I already stated. Steelers being the 6th team on the list of 6 he wants to visit. So I will be, here in a week or so revisiting my view of, did the Steelers do the right thing, wide receiver in corner, not trading for any one of those at the deadline. Concepts here. Myers Shaheed may want crazy money, so for a 9-game rental, I'll pass. Even though I would be happy now if either guy was a Steeler today. I can see both sides. I agree, their concepts. I see both sides. Now, are Myers and Shaheed really in a position to ask for big money? I don't really think so. I think Shaheed actually has more of a case than Myers, because Shaheed, he's got 2 touchdowns this year, and people view him as like this game breaker with speed that has a nose for the end zone. Meanwhile, Myers, he hasn't had a touchdown catch this year so far. And even if they did, ask for a good chunk of dough, the Steelers, they were to give a 4th round and a 6th round pick, get Myers, and he was willing to sign an extension, let's not act like the Steelers, one way or another, they're either going to have a rookie quarterback next year, a bridge quarterback if Aaron Rodgers retires, or Rodgers himself, which, if I had to guess, he may come back for another, $13 million deal, maybe get a little bit of a pay raise, but something, not that, explosive, like $30-40 million a year there. So that's my thoughts on that. Magic here, 4th and a 5th for a rental, no way. Yeah, and I think we can speculate if the Steelers definitely could, if they wanted to, sign either of those 2 men to extensions. But seeing how they didn't want to give up a 4th and a 6th, tells me that they didn't want to give him an extension. So I do agree with that, but man, still though, you're one injury to DK Metcalf away from really being in trouble there. That's pretty much the main reason why I wanted a wide receiver of significance at this deadline. Concepts here: almost every pick the last 3 years has made the team. Kevin Colbert's picks were the opposite, though. We are actually concepts. I think I know where you got the idea of comparing Omar Khan and Kevin Colbert's picks there. We are going to bring up Kevin Colbert and his last year or so of draft picks here in a minute, because those got brought up on a certain podcast from a certain Steelers former legendary quarterback. So we will talk about that later. Concepts again here. Colts trade is insane. Really must have hated A.D. Mitchell after that dumb fumble at the goal line. Yeah, getting given up A.D. Mitchell like that, I thought that was crazy. I mean, 2 firsts for Sauce is crazy enough. Now you add on a still young, developing wide receiver in it all. Yeah, I thought that was crazy. Good point here by Magic. Aaron Rodgers, if he ever decides to complain about, the Steelers not getting a wide receiver at the deadline, he did get who he wanted. He, I'm sure, was pounding the table more or less behind the scenes for MVS, got what he wanted there. Magic also says I like Allen Lazard. See, Allen Lazard probably would have been the lowest hanging fruit that the Steelers could have grabbed at the deadline. But still, even if they would have done that, I would have been okay with it, because, I would like him better as a 4th or a 5th option than Scotty Miller or Ben Skoranek or something like that. Don't mean that as any offense to those guys. Concepts here again. We'll all be happy about no trade when mock draft season starts. Draft day should be even more fun than it already is. Yeah, I'm sure we'll all be talking about it then, like, oh, okay, the Steelers can now package this 3rd or this 4th to move up in the 1st or 2nd round, and we'll all be thankful for them then. So, yeah, concepts. But, hey, I mean, that's hindsight 2020 thoughts right there, right now in the moment. We're still going to be pretty upset about it. Am I right in thinking Asante is a pure cover corner with little to no tackling, no slight that could help? Just worry about tackling after his injuries. Yeah, of course, when you got back injuries, they are very, very scary, and you are worried about how that changes the player, and if they are going to be one wrong twist or hit away from their career being over. So that does worry me there. Spinal fusion procedure, I believe, is what it was for Samuel. But getting into the whole pure cover corner thing, would that be the worst thing for this team, honestly? I mean, if you got Kyle Duggar and Jalen Ramsey in the backfield, I have little tackle worries about those guys. And with the way the Steelers, plays this zone coverage, they could use a guy who can cover a lot of grass and worry about tackling second, in my opinion. All of you greeting each other in here. Tyrone here, like MVS for depth. Well, will be okay. A way better situation than last year. GP Moose CA3, somewhat Harris this year. DK Muth, Smith Roman CA3, MVS Warren Gainwell. Yeah, do like that. It is deeper in terms of weapons. It's more of a last year you had a tiny bit of quality and not all that much quantity. Now this year you still have arguably the same amount of quality, maybe a smidge bit higher, but you do have some quantity now to go with it. Now, how good is that quantity? That is still to be determined. We know the quality players, GP and DK, Muth is still there, CA3 still there, so it's a 2027 first, not 2026. Okay, my bad. 2026 is the second. So the Cowboys still do have two firsts. That's my bad there. THP couldn't remember the exact details of that trade. And then Tyrone Keaton here with the last comment for right now. A-Rod, not Russ, and Fields, LOL. That is very true as well. Is he as mobile as those guys, especially in Fields' case? No, but does he have everything else that's better than those guys? The arm, not the deep ball that Russ has, but the accuracy of the arm, the mentals of it, which I'm intrigued about and take value in the highest. Yeah, A-Rod has that, so much better than those guys. 7 of you in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. Please hit subscribe if you have not done so already. Apologize, meant to mention it's at the top of the show. Apologize if talking a little bit more quiet today. Scratchy throat, stuffy nose. So typical fall is rolling in type situation I'm going through right here. Going to move on here, ladies and gentlemen, sort of backtrack even further into yesterday. We usually do this on Tuesday nights, but because of the trade deadline, we did not. So we are going to do it today. Giving a quick recap of Mike Tomlin's Tuesday presser. He spoke yesterday like he always does at noon and did his normal shtick, recapping last game, looking forward to this game, given the injury report, and also taking questions. Starting off yesterday, Tomlin did talk about the Steelers' win versus the Indianapolis Colts. Pretty much the main thing he said about that game was that the Steelers stopping Jonathan Taylor and making the Colts play from behind was a major component of the game for the Steelers. No kidding. Jonathan Taylor, best running back in the NFL, still think that even after that performance against the Steelers, they had what the Colts offensive line was doing well scouted, and they were able to hold Taylor to just 45 yards rushing. After that, you made Daniel Jones and that offense become one-dimensional passing the ball, and that led to pretty much all of their turnovers, the fumbles and the interceptions. Tomlin also, talking about that game, said that he was very, very impressed in that this group will stay together with the safety tandem of Jalen Ramsey and Kyle Duggar. Gave praise for those two as a tandem, saying that their communication was very, very good. He said that Ramsey will be staying at safety this week exclusively again, so number 5 will be deep downfield again for the black and gold against Justin Herbert in this very high potent Chargers offense. Also talking about Kyle Duggar, Tomlin said that the Steelers, they kept a close eye on him throughout the game, but once they saw how he was moving around on the field and how just the fundamentals were so sound with him, they knew that he would be all right in the game against the Colts. So that led them developing that quick faith in him. That's why he played all but one snap. Also, just wrapping up on the secondary here from Sunday's win over the Colts. Tomlin said he does feel comfortable with players like Brandon Echols and James Pierre stepping up at corner, being rotating in with Joey Porter and more specifically, Darius Slay, said, quote, "We have more depth at corner than we do safety." I wonder if he still feels that same way now that the Steelers are going to be bringing in Asante Samuel. It's almost kind of like the wide receiver thing, but now we're going to carry it out for another week at corner. We always heard, Steelers have confidence in their wide receivers, yet they didn't stop scouring the trade market up until the deadline for a wide receiver. Now Tomlin says we got depth at corner, yet the Steelers are bringing in Asante Samuel for a visit. So I like that, but will they do it? I don't know. I love Tomlin's confidence in it, but James Pierre, I will admit, he has been good stepping up at certain spots, but would I be lying if I said there wasn't a little part of me that's waiting for James Pierre to turn into the guy that's, only worth a damn on special teams? I would be lying. So moving on here in Tomlin's press conference from yesterday, injury report. Tomlin originally said that Scotty Miller and Cole Holcomb were out for Sunday night's game against the Chargers. Miller, of course, with the finger injury, Holcomb with the illness. Tomlin then later in the press conference clarified that those two guys will be out to start the week and that they are, not going to be definitively ruled out yet for Sunday's game. Some other guys he listed as questionable: Isaac Seumalo with his pec injury. I mean, that still worries me to hell and back. Seumalo with his pec, that is a injury for offensive linemen that should be taken very seriously. And right now, just sitting here on a Wednesday night, dare I say, if given Seumalo a week off to get this pec injury right so that he's not, risking hurting it even more on Sunday, I'd do it. I'd risk, losing the 12 personnel package and all that because Seumalo, he's going to be pretty irreplaceable down the stretch on this offensive line. Tomlin also said Jabril Peppers with his soft tissue quad injury. He will be questionable, as is Chuck Clark with an illness. Same thing as Holcomb. Getting into the matchup against the Chargers, Tomlin said that going up against Justin Herbert, it will be different than when they faced him a year ago. Said that the Steelers got a break facing him when he was banged up with his leg injury. I believe I'm trying to remember back to that game. Had an ankle injury. He went out and Easton Stick or Taylor Heineke or someone came in. Now Justin Herbert is fully healthy, and Tomlin said, they're going to treat Justin Herbert with caution. So going to have to account for him both with his arm and his legs. Going to his weapons around him, Tomlin highlighted tight end Oronde Gadsden and running back Kamani Vidal as young weapons who have impressed him for the Chargers. Vidal filling in for Marion Hampton and Najee Harris, the top two running backs for the Chargers that are injured. Gadsden really developing as their number one tight end. And then talking about their defense, Tomlin said that, their top guy they got to watch out for there is Derwin James, their safety. Says that he is the straw that stirs the drink. Hopefully he's able. I mean, I'm trying to remember back if Tomlin brought him up specifically, but yes, Derwin James is a guy to keep an eye on. However, you want to pay attention to a guy that can truly wreck a game at any moment. I'm diverting a lot of attention towards Khalil Mack Sunday night. That's for sure. Wrapping up here, Tomlin's press conference from yesterday, Q&A portion of it. Tomlin was asked about some of the practice squad moves that the Steelers made. In terms of MVS, Tomlin said that he is just a practice squatter right now. Tomlin was very dismissive of MVS, just like, yeah, he's just a regular Joe Blow who came in off the street, gonna be here. But hopefully that's a smokescreen that Tomlin does envision MVS being a part of this offense at some point. Said that we'll see how his conditioning is, but that it is not to be confused as like bringing in Kyle Duggar. And also mentioned with the practice squad, Beanie Bishop getting cut from the practice squad for MVS. Tomlin even more dismissive of that, saying, I'm not getting into practice squad decisions. That's just too far down the totem pole. So don't know if that's Tomlin being like, hey, I got a head coach. I'm a head coach. I got a lot on my plate on a game week. You want to ask questions like that, ask Omar, or if he was intentionally being dismissive of Beanie Bishop. Either way, that was an interesting quote right there. And the last two things of note that Tomlin spoke of in the Q&A portion, like I mentioned earlier, he did say that Roman Wilson is progressing very, very well, but that he did make that boneheaded lack of ball security play on his late fumble against the Colts. And also Tomlin said that Jalen Ramsey did speak to the front of the group on Saturday, just like Aaron Rodgers said. And Tomlin said he, didn't really give specifics on that either, but hearing that from Ramsey, having Ramsey do that, nothing really out of the ordinary there. That's just the leader that Ramsey is. Moving from yesterday into today, we did an hour ago receive the first injury report of the day for the Steelers heading into this weekend against the Chargers. And man, it's growing. It's growing. And hopefully this isn't anything to worry about right now. At least I'm hoping so. First practice squad rate, our first injury report right here. Did not practice. Scotty Miller, broken finger. I think he's out for Sunday. I think you can write that in Sharpie right now. Corey Trice with a knee injury still needs to come off IR. I doubt he'll play. Jabril Peppers with a quad. I doubt he'll play as well. Cole Holcomb with an illness did not practice today. If I had to guess, maybe it was one of those illnesses where you feel sick as a dog. Your strength gets taken away from you a little bit. You maybe shed a few pounds. So I do think he ultimately will play on Sunday, but might be a DNP today and tomorrow. Alex Highsmith with an ankle as it did not participate. Hopefully that is him just continuing to manage that ankle and make sure that it gets him, make sure that he gets himself to Sunday. Did get that ankle injury early on in the Colts game, had a heavy spat and tape on that ankle, and then went out there, had 2 sacks, a forced fumble, all that. So I think he'll be all right. Isaac Sayamalu with a pec. Please don't be as serious as I'm worrying about. Jonnu Smith rested, and the most notable name on here, not because of star power, but because he was not mentioned yesterday by Mike Tomlin as a guy even dealing with bumps or bruises associated with play. Darnell Washington, a foot injury, did not practice today. Feet issues with him probably be very serious to pay attention to, because he does it all for this team on offense, has been getting more involved in the past, but run blocking, pass blocking, he's been the biggest help there. So hopefully that foot is okay, and that this was just a precautionary thing today. If he does not practice tomorrow, then we'll ratchet up our worry a little bit more than we do now, but that will be something to pay attention to. Full practices today. 2 guys that should be back soon. Will Howard with his broken pinky still on IR. I don't know what they're waiting for to activate him at this point. That hand's probably fully healed. And then Chuck Clark, just like Cole Holcomb, was sick for the game against the Colts, but was back out there practicing today. I'm sure, like I said, Holcomb will follow soon. Steelers did make a roster move today. They brought in defensive tackle Broderick Martin, former, trying to think here, what was Broderick Martin? I do know his name. I'm trying to think of the college he went to. Syracuse is on the top of my mind for some reason, but I'm not entirely confident in that. Steelers signing Broderick Martin off the Chiefs practice squad. So we will see. We will see how he does, if he'll get a helmet on game day. I assume that's going to be a kind of Band-Aid fix or replacement for Daniel Ekwale being out the rest of the year. And also an interesting note here from Alex Kozora of Steelers Depot. Carl Dunbar, Steelers defensive line coach, attended Martin's Western Kentucky Pro Day, so there's his college, in 2023. So the Steelers have known about this young player before. And then wrapping up the Steelers talk here from today's practice, heard from Aaron Rodgers and Marquez Valdez-Scantling after practice. Rodgers today saying, talking about the Steelers deadline. What I've learned about the trade deadline is there's a lot of conversation, and rarely is there a lot of action. You feel pretty good about your guys, and we added Quez to the practice squad. So looks like Rodgers at least understands that, hey, you got your buddy you can't complain about. The Steelers not adding a wide receiver at the deadline too much. And I think, I do full-heartedly believe him when he says that, they do feel pretty good about that wide receiver room. As for MVS, he said that he did have interest from the Steelers back before the season began. I think we remember a little bit it came down to Pittsburgh and San Francisco for Valdez-Scantling to join during training camp. Ultimately went to the 49ers because of his familiarity with Clint Kubiak and his offense that used to be with the New Orleans Saints. Now Valdez-Scantling in Pittsburgh did say that Rodgers was the reason why he came to Pittsburgh. Said, yeah, man, this guy next to me got me here. You've been trying to get me around since we left Green Bay. So confirms all that more that MVS is here because of Aaron Rodgers. To the comment section we go again here before we switch gears into some hockey talk. Black Magic here. Think they were fine with the receivers. It's the fans that one-on-one. Yeah, do believe that they are fine with the receivers. However, when you have constantly national insiders who are in cahoots with these agents getting in contact with them on the daily, makes me wonder, if the Steelers really were all that confident in their wide receiver room. Told you in way better situation than last year. Agree there. Tyrone. Chargers tackles both out. D-line going to eat like versus the Colts. Well, I will bring that up here in a moment, Tyrone. Yes, they are out, both of their tackles. They yesterday made a trade to try to, put a Band-Aid over a bullet hole at their tackle situation. So we will talk about the tackles here in a moment for the LA Chargers. Before we do that, I'm just going to switch gears one more time, ladies and gentlemen. The last big segment of the day here. Going to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins for a hot moment before we get back into some Steelers talk. Since we last spoke, the Pens in action Monday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this was a tale of two games between these two teams. First off, Tristan Jarry in net for the Penguins, his 300th NHL game. The Pens doing a little bit of line shuffling in the first period. They at one point had Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, and Brian Rust on the same line. They then had Ben Kindle centering Ville Koivunen and Anthony Mantha, and then Philip Hollander with Tommy Novak and Philip Tomasino. Those lines, I think they only tried them out for a little bit. Then they went back to something more normal. It did get the Pens going early on. The Pens struck first. Sidney Crosby entering into the offensive zone. A cross-zone saucer pass right on the tape of Erik Karlsson. And Karlsson, who had 10 assists on the season, no goals heading into Monday night, gets his first tally of the year. An absolute snipe over the glove, damn near bar down on Anthony Stolarz for the Maple Leafs. Hell of a pass there and a hell of a goal by Karlsson. Penguins, as the first period was winding down, ended up making it 2-0. Ben Kindle, the 18-year-old who just recently played in his 10th NHL game, officially making him a rookie and keeping him on the team for the rest of the year. Kindle, puck pops up into the air near the goal line. It hit off of Kindle, but they said it hit off of a Toronto Maple Leafs player earlier before that. So it wasn't a high stick. Kindle gets the goal. A little bit later on, Kindle again in the second period on the power play, first power play unit, by the way, for Kindle, recently getting shipped up to the top unit with Crosby, Malkin, Carlson, those guys. Kindle breaks his stick, goes to the bench for a new one, and then Evgeny Malkin just standing still on the outside hash marks near the boards finds Kindle atop of the right circle dot, the right circle. He rips it bar and in, post and in for Ben Kindle, his first multi-goal game of his NHL career. Kindle, a couple of crazy stats here for this damn impressive 18-year-old. Kindle has 5 goals already in his young NHL career. All the other 223 players from his draft class from a couple of months ago, they have just 6 NHL goals up until this point. I believe it's now 7. I think Matthew Schaefer, first overall defenseman for the Islanders, scored the other night. But Kindle, he is off to a hot start, probably a Calder Trophy start for the league's top MVP. He became the first Penguin since Olli Mata, the first teenager since Olli Mata in 2014 to have a multi-goal game. Kindle also became the 5th 18-year-old in Penguins history with a multi-goal game, joining some pretty damn good names: Sidney Crosby, Jaromir Jagr, Jordan Staal, and Craig Simpson. And Kindle now becomes, I think, the 7th player, or no, excuse me, Kindle on Friday, or Monday, excuse me, became the 8th player in the past 35 years to be picked outside the top 10 and make the NHL, full year in his first year right after being drafted. So Ben Kindle, he is on a whole nother world right now. I'm probably, gushing too much over this kid right now, but you can't help but be impressed by what he's doing. I mean, every single aspect of the game, I have not seen that much of a flaw in one department of his game or another so far, and he's doing it against all kinds of competitions, good teams, bad teams, top lines, bottom lines. Put him in any situation, and he is thriving right now. And that is exactly what the Pens did for, like I said, most of this game. At one point in the second period, the Pens were out shooting Toronto 6-0 in the period, and they outshot the Leafs through the first 34 minutes of the game 20-6. So the Pens, they were buzzing. Kindle with 2 goals was a big part of that. Best 40 minutes of play, first 2 periods. The best 2 periods of play the Pens have played all year, dominating the Leafs. And then everything came crashing down like Pompeii back in the day. Pens early in the third period. Austin Matthews, star center for the Maple Leafs, comes in on a breakaway, buries it 5-hole on Tristan Jarry. A little bit later, not too long after that, becomes 3-2. A shot goes off the post, off the back of Tristan Jarry and in. William Nylander, with 13:05 left on the clock, ties it up. And in 7 minutes, the Pens watched a 3-0 lead all of a sudden become a tie game. And at that point, momentum had permanently shifted. There was no coming back for the Pens. The Leafs finally ended up taking their first lead of the game, 4-3, with 6.5 minutes to go. Pens couldn't recover. Final score you see there, 4-3. The Pens gave up 4 goals on 11 shots in the third period. Those 11 shots weren't the final tally, but on the first 11 shots, of the third period against the Pens gave up 4 goals, and that is the first blown lead, massive, catastrophic collapse that we have seen from this team this season. Honestly, made us have flashbacks to this team so many times last year when they would be up and then they give up tons and tons of goals late in the game. So just brutal loss for the Pens. They had the game in their hands heading into the third period, up by 3, and then things came crashing down in a hurry. So that wound up being the final score right there, 4-3. Things only got worse for the Pens in news off the ice yesterday. Noel Acciari, Penguins' fourth line forward, got hurt in the first period of that game against the Leafs. He joined Justin Brazeau and Tristan Jarry, also injured in that game. Those three, Acciari, Brazeau, Jarry, placed on injured reserve yesterday. And today, this morning, we got an update on the statuses of those 3 gentlemen. Brazeau is going to be out 4 weeks minimum with an upper body injury. Noel Acciari, same thing, but 3 weeks for him. And then Tristan Jarry, a lower body injury, he will be out 3 weeks as well. Makes me wonder, Jarry, now all of a sudden he's got an injury. It's going to be one that is going to be nearly a month. Was that something that was hindering him in the third period against the Leafs that led to him giving up 4 goals? I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy because you just can't blow a 3-goal lead in quick fashion like that in the third period, but makes you wonder what's going on with Jarry. To make up for those losses, the Pens, they sent Owen Pickering, still young defenseman, down to Wilkes-Barre. Scranton was up here for a couple of games. He hasn't really done anything. And they recalled 3 players. Danton Heinen, forward, defenseman Ryan Graves, and the Murashov era, ladies and gentlemen, is upon us. Sergei Murashov called up by the Pens, and if you have not known who this kid is so far in your, hockey lives, get to know this kid, Sergei Murashov, young Russian goaltender. He is the headliner of this call-up, of these series of call-ups here by the Pens. Murashov, AHL this year, 7 games, a 173 goals against average, and a 931 save percentage. That is elite goaltending numbers right there. Last year in the AHL, he did similar things that really put his name on the map here in the organization. A 265 goals against average, a 913 save percentage in 16 games last year. Murashov, just yesterday, I believe, named the AHL goaltender of the month, and he will now become the 7th rookie to play for the Penguins this year. Eventually, when he gets in net, with Jarry being out 3 weeks, he's going to get a look sooner or later. So this is, I think, Murashov, I don't mean to put this lofty of an expectation on him or this, big of a comparison, but I mean, just watching him in the preseason, seeing what he's done down there in the AHL, dare I say, Marc-Andre Fleury type stuff we've seen from Murashov. He's not the most technically sound goaltender. He's a bit wonky in his technique and things like that, but he is effective. He can turn things on, make big saves, be a brick wall in the clutchest of moments. And I and every other Penguins fan looking forward to see what he does. Hopefully he gets an extended look. I honestly, personally here, would love to see him get a look tomorrow night. We will be live, by the way. Forgot to mention that, for the live stream earlier. Hope you guys all come back here tomorrow night. Pens, Capitals, tomorrow night. That game starts at 7:30. We'll be live a little bit beforehand, but we will be live tomorrow talking about that. Of course, Sidney Crosby going up against Alexander Ovechkin, but Murashov, young Russian goaltender, looks like he could be a guy. I want to see him go into this game against a pretty high power offense in the Capitals, and also go up against a guy who I'm sure he idolized growing up in Ovechkin. So I want to see Murashov as soon as possible. Spoke on getting AHL goaltender of the month today when he was in Pittsburgh. Said, my confidence always comes from what I'm doing, from the process, not the results. First and foremost, I would like to say thanks to my team. They were all battling, and efforts all around were really, really high, and I truly appreciate that. I think it's good to work with all the coaches in the Penguins organization. And yeah, I think, again, it's all about the process and what I'm doing and enjoying my time. So Murashov, highly talented, young 21-year-old goaltender, has the right mindset for it as well. Excited to see him possibly get into the Penguins crease, hopefully tomorrow night, but if not, very, very soon. Also, we talk about Murashov being the headliner. Let's not take the call-ups of Danton Heinen and Ryan Graves for granted either. Now, we've seen a ton from those guys in recent years on this Penguins team, most of it pretty bad. But Heinen, so far, 14 points, tied for the AHL scoring lead so far with Wilkes-Barre this year. Graves, a +9 rating on the Wilkes-Barre Penguins, best on the team. So maybe these guys down there in the AHL, am I going to get their hopes up that they've, figured it out and that they are going to be stupendous on tomorrow night? Probably not, but maybe this is a reset that they needed. Hopefully they do well. And wrapping up today, talking about the Penguins lines today at practice. These are worth talking about. The Penguins shuffling around their lineup a bit today in practice. These should stick tomorrow night against the Capitals. And this right here, this top line, I have been low-key waiting for the Pens to do this for a little while now. Brian Rust on the wing, of course, with Sidney Crosby. The other winger on that line, Ben Kindle. No longer the third-line center, though he has been very, very effective in that role. His hockey IQ, his sense, smarts for the game, dare I say, it's a little Sidney Crosby-esque. So getting him on a line with Sid, I'm very, very excited to see what those two do together with Brian Rust. Tommy Novak, he got moved up from the third line as well to the second line on the wing of Evgeny Malkin. Anthony Mantha is still there as well. The third line, Danton Heinen, didn't know he still had center capabilities. He's centering Ville Koivunen and Philip Tomasino. And then the fourth line, Connor Dewar with Blake Lizotte, and then rotating in on the wing. Interesting to see if we get to see this gentleman's season debut tomorrow night. Kevin Hayes rotating in with Philip Hollander. So maybe Kevin Hayes gets into the lineup tomorrow night here for the Pens. Defense pairings for top two, the same. The third pairing, the only change there, Ryan Graves and Connor Clifton were the third pairing today in practice. Matt Dumba and Harrison Brunick, the extras. So seeing that, of course, Graves is going to get put in the lineup, but Brunick not, scheduled to play tomorrow night by the looks of it. Maybe that's the Pens buying themselves a little bit more time to decide whether they're going to keep Brunick in the NHL this year or send him back to the minors. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much does it for the Penguins news. Like I said, pretty, rotten third period that they blew a 3-goal lead to the Leafs on Monday night. Made a couple of roster moves yesterday, putting a couple of good players. Justin Brazeau, it's going to be a big loss for this team. He's on IR. Tristan Jarry's on IR. But hey, Sergei Murashov time. Excited for it. And like I said, hope you guys all come back here tomorrow night. 7:30 is puck drop. A little bit beyond that because it is ESPN broadcast. But 7:20. Hope you guys all come back here and we can be live for that. Just realized, got to edit this graphic a little bit. Tomorrow's date I got to put on there, so I will fix that. All right, 5 of you in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment here in a moment. Wrap things up here today. Before we do that, got a couple of other viewers coming in here. Flacco coming in. Lance from Mon Valley coming in as well. Welcome, gentlemen. Glad to have you guys here as always. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the day here and really get through this quickly here so we can wrap up things here tonight. Back to the NFL and the Steelers and the NFL trade deadline. Keeping tabs on a couple of moves that the Steelers division rivals made. We've talked about these before, but just worth giving a recap here. The Baltimore Ravens, they made one addition the day before the deadline, bringing in Draymond Jones, edge rusher from the Tennessee Titans. They sent a conditional 5th-round pick out the door for him. Jones, 4.5 sacks in his last 4 games, so that's a sneaky, underrated depth addition there by the Ravens. The Cincinnati Bengals, they were not big sellers, shipping off Trey Hendrickson like some speculated. He is still there in Cincinnati. The Bengals did, however, get rid of another veteran in their defense, linebacker Logan Wilson, going to Dallas, THP country, for a 7th-round pick in this year's draft. And the Cleveland Browns, they too made a trade selling off a piece, defensive end Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who honestly I forgot was there. And all I remember is that he's a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. The Browns sent him to the Chicago Bears for a 6th-round pick. And then just one extra trade here because it will affect the Steelers. The LA Chargers, this was the last trade, I believe, the deadline breaker here. They acquiring Trevor Penning, former 1st-round pick. Wasn't he trying to think. Was Penning the Broderick Jones year or the Troy Fautanu year? I cannot remember. But yeah, Penning, former 1st-round pick of the Saints. He goes to LA because LA down Joe Alt the rest of the year. They lost Rashawn Slater early on in the year. So he's going to try to be a tourniquet out there at the tackle position for the Chargers. And the Chargers offensive line, by the way, yikes. Looking at here, this graphic right here popped up today, and I just had to bookmark it because yeesh. This is the Chargers offensive line, not including Trevor Penning, who they added yesterday. Left tackle, Jamari Salyer from Georgia Bulldogs a couple of years ago. Was that it's not Paris Johnson, that's something else Johnson from Boston College. Bradley Bozeman, whoever Sorrell is at right guard, and then Trey Pimpkins at right tackle. So that is a rough-looking offensive line protecting Justin Herbert, and their PFF grades there, I bet, are pretty accurate. Meanwhile, looking at the other side of the ball right above that, Herbig, Hayward, Watt, Highsmith, those guys, they really, really, really have to eat against this offensive line, or else it is going to be mega times to worry about them, because it's like so weird. They're like doing Pittsburgh Steelers stuff, not game related. They're so good against good offensive lines. Like I take the Colts O-line as pretty solid. They got Braden Smith as a tackle. Bernard Ryman, I think, is pretty decent. Quentin Nelson, one of the best guards in the NFL, is still there. And they just dominated them like a bunch of high schoolers. And then the Steelers D-line, they will do stuff like this where they will have not a single pressure, a la the Cincinnati Bengals game. So please let this chart here be true. Steelers D line, pass rush, do your job, because you cannot have this group beat you on Sunday night. Wrapping up here, some Pittsburgh Steelers talk here for the evening. Going to go off the gridiron onto a podcast chair in a certain basement. Ben Roethlisberger, he is in the extra Pittsburgh sports news category today. He, on his most recent edition of Football and with Ben Roethlisberger, we do talk about what he says on there about this current Steelers team from time to time. However, he today taking a shot at Kevin Colbert. I'm going to take it as here because someone earlier in the comment section brought up Kevin Colbert's drafts. Ben Roethlisberger, he took a shot at one of those today, saying that, oh, Aaron Rodgers, he got DK Metcalf. What did I get in my final year? I got a center that never played center before, taking a dig at Kendrick Green, and I think, more specifically there, the Steelers front office. So that right there, I just had to mention because it is a scathing thought there from Big Ben. And someone also brought up, the entire offensive line from his final year. Ben, 39 years old, and his starting offensive line was Dan Moore Jr., Kevin Dotson, which, hey, credit to Dotson, he at least turned his career into something out there with the LA Rams after he moved back over to right guard. Kendrick Green, of course, the undersized guard, too, from Illinois that never played center. Right guard, Trey Turner, who I quite honestly barely remember. All I know is that he was a former Washington football teamer back then. And then right tackle, Chuks Okorafor, who isn't even in the league anymore and literally quit, I think, football 2 years after this. So, my goodness. Ben, justified shot at the front office, if I had to say the least. But also, no need to really, criticize what the Steelers are doing now, saying, no, you gave Aaron more than me, or you gave Aaron more than you did me. So, wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news here for the day. Just 3 last quick things on the Steelers. Deshaun Elliott probably out for the rest of the year with his hyperextended knee injury. I think it hasn't been confirmed, but I do believe he did have surgery on that recently. He, last night, posting to his Instagram story a picture of, I guess, Goku or whatever in a, medical bath tank, something like that, repairing. So maybe that is a bit of a tell that Elliott, is on the road to recovery, and he's going to try to work his ass off to come back before the season's over. And then 2 congratulations to wrap up Steelers talk today. Congratulations to Alex Highsmith. He winning Defensive Player of the Week for the AFC. 2 sacks, I believe 3, 2 sacks here, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and 1 pass defense. So, hell of a week for Alex Highsmith. Really came off all of our, criticism lists in a hurry. And congratulations to former Steelers coach Buddy Parker. He making it to the semifinals for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026 in the coaches category. Wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the day here. Just one extra Pittsburgh Penguins thing here. It's not even a news story. Just thought this was really cool. Sidney Crosby recently on some sort of media availability or show was being shown a couple of things talking about Evgeny Malkin. Didn't realize that Evgeny Malkin, on a quote from 3 years ago or something, told his son Nikita that, do you think Sidney Crosby is family? You better treat him as such because he is. And just thought that was cool. Sid said that he didn't know Gino considered him his family. And even, after years and years and years of playing together, Sid saying you'd learn something new. Thought that was very cool right there. Shows the love and camaraderie that those two have with each other. And then wrapping up today's Pittsburgh sports news with some Pirates talk. This happened yesterday. Did not mention it on stream, but and honestly, I could have made this its own legit segment of its own here. But are we really surprised by this? Paul Skeens named a finalist for the Cy Young Award in the National League. Here's everyone's shocked face. We all knew that it was going to happen Honestly, if he doesn't win, it is a travesty on the game of baseball. So, Skeens, a finalist. That's step one. Step two, winning the damn thing here in the not too distant future. Speaking of Skeens, by the way, the Pirates back on their BS. They apparently, to a select few fans, putting out another exclusive group survey to voice their opinions about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Completing the survey will enter those fans into a chance to win a Paul Skeens autographed jersey. And not going to lie, checked my emails, did not get an email from the Pirates, but, wonder what the survey is this time. Think the North Shore 9 crew, they got it. So we'll see, maybe hopefully here soon, what sort of answers in those surveys, what questions were asked. Very intrigued by that. And then wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh Pirates news here for the day. They last night made 3 waiver designations. They placed outfielder Ji-Won Bae on waivers, so his time in Pittsburgh officially done. Remember, back at a time when Bae coming over from South Korea, I believe, he was, thought to be some elite prospect that was very, very fast. He is fast, but thought that he was going to be a part of this Pirates team long term. Never panned out. Had 1 hit in 20 at-bats last year, so he is sent on his way. Also sent on his way infielder Liover Peguero. Unlike Bae, Bae got a good bit of opportunities. Liover Peguero, he got waived as well. Also one of those, infield prospects where you thought maybe he could be something here with the Pirates. I don't think he really got much of a chance. They buried him in the minors year after year, so hopefully he's able to latch on to an MLB roster somewhere. And then the third waiver designation yesterday for the Pirates, right-handed pitcher Jack Little, which to that I answer, who's Jack Little? And then the last 2 Pirates stories here for the day. This one not related to the Pirates, but related to one of their division rivals. Tons of MLB players in the past couple of days opting out of their contracts, joining those players. Shota Imanaga, the fantastic left-handed Japanese pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, he declining his 3-year, $57 million option with the Chicago Cubs. So, Shota Imanaga heading to the free agent market. If he goes out of the NL Central, I'd be all right with that. And then last thing here for the Pirates today, they today just randomly dropping their spring training schedule for 2026 here. Let me pop it up here on the screen if I can. There it is right there. Spring training schedule. They start February 21st against the Baltimore Orioles. And then a couple of other interesting things in here along the way. Some split squad games, of course, on the 22nd of February there. And then 2 more, at least, in March right there. There's a break here on Tuesday, March the 3rd, for the World Baseball Classic game versus Colombia. So I wonder, is that the Pirates playing Colombia's national team, or is that when the World Baseball Classic starts? I doubt it. I think the World Baseball Classic is like early February, so it'll be all over before spring training, but thought that was interesting there. And then spring training will wrap up March 23rd against the Atlanta Braves. And then we'll get into some Pittsburgh Pirates baseball then, probably after sometime after that week there. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to wrap it up here for the evening. Just real quick, gonna get last couple of comments in here from Magic and Flacco here. Magic, did you hear why we backed out of a Waddle trade? No, I did not. I did not see anything on a Waddle trade. So, Magic, if you care to divulge what that is, didn't even know the Steelers were in on getting close to a trade for Waddle, that they were, backing out of it there. So feel free to share with the group there, Magic. Flacco here. It's a healing chamber Goku used to gain his health and strength back. I'm a nerd. That's all right, Flacco. See, you can fill me in on that. I'll be honest. My palette of watching stuff on TV that's not sports related is pretty thin. Watch a little bit of WWE and some other things like that. So appreciate the fill in there, Flacco. I assume you saw the picture as well. Going to take one last stroll here through Twitter, see if there's any last second news stories before we log off here for the night that are interesting. we did get a response. Just mentioned Big Ben on his podcast. It did make its way to Kendrick Green. That is hilarious. Kendrick Green on Twitter. Damn, talk about catching strays. Jeez Louise. Woof. Wonder what Ben is going to say in response to that. Yikes, that's hilarious right there. Was wondering Kendrick Green was going to respond to that. Well, also, it will be fun. I bet you at some point sooner or later. I doubt it will be Tuesday against next Tuesday when Tomlin speaks again, but wouldn't it be funny if that was brought up to Tomlin just to see his response to that? Because, he does construct the roster. Interesting here. It's 2 hours ago from the Baltimore Ravens. They recently just getting a little slap on the wrist, $100,000 fine for an incorrect injury report. They today saying they have no injury report. Every player a full participant. Do we really believe that? That's kind of crazy. We'll see if someone pops in there. Be interested to see that. Seeing if there's anything else here. I do not think so. And yep, that is going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. So, want to real quick, one more time, say thank you again to all of you who joined the stream yesterday for live coverage of the NFL trade deadline. That was fun, even though the Steelers didn't do anything. And once again, would like to extend to you guys, please come back tomorrow night for some hockey coverage, Penguins and Capitals. I know I got the date wrong there. I will fix that when we're done. But yeah, please come on back tomorrow night. Pens, Capitals, a little bit before 7:30. We'll break down what we could watch for in that matchup. And then Sidney Crosby versus Alex Ovechkin. Those two, no matter how old they get, will always be a draw and a must-see watch. Ovechkin looking to get goal number 900 in his career. I think the Capitals are playing tonight, so if he doesn't get it tonight, then Ovechkin could be going for goal 900 tomorrow against the Pens. Hopefully, like I said, for personal bias here, want to see Sergei Murashov in net. And also, one last time before we log off, of course, if you are new here, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again or upload a video again. Like this live stream, share this live stream, leave a comment on it after the fact. I can see those and I'll get back to you on those. Leave you a like at least. And of course, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And come back a little bit later on tonight for SCSR 60. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night. Thank you for dealing with my bit of a raspy voice, fighting through it here, but happy to do so as always. Hopefully feeling a lot better before tomorrow night. Thank you all one last time. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night. Back here tomorrow. No live stream like this. There will not be a news live stream. If there's any outstanding news, I'm sure we will hit on it at some point tomorrow night between the Pens and the Capitals, maybe on an intermission or something like that. But no live stream like this for tomorrow night. We will just go right into Caps and Pens at around 7:30. So thank you all. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night. See you guys back here tomorrow. Peace.